3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. And let's place the receiver in our pocket. And we're recording? Yes, we are. That's great. Hi everyone. Currently we're in Subic Bay, and I've had a lot of comments asking me what devices I use for capturing my videos, and it's not a very simple answer. As you can see, we're about to get into this. So I do use the Osmo Pocket 3, very small device on its own. I'll get into that a little bit further, but I think a lot of people will know what the Osmo Pocket 3 is like on its own. When I first got the Osmo Pocket 3 on its own, the way I need to carry this because I'm actually recording sound through this device, and I'll get onto that in a bit. But when I first got the Osmo Pocket 3, I did not like it at all. I wish I was a bit better set up here. Let me find. So what I had at first was a battery extender, which I can't find. I've got two of those, so I used to swap them around. Here we go, found it. So I used to swap them around. I used to always have a battery extender in there. I started off with the one battery extender handle. You get it in your creator combo, whatever the hell it's called, and that's how I used to roll, just like that, because without it, it's such a small device. You can easily press anything here. And then I found it was still too small, so I added this little handle that you do get with the combo pack as well, and that was a bit better. Wait, 1 second. Yeah, that was a bit better. But as time went by, I realised that the sound quality on this was okay, but when the wind hits, it was horrendous. So what I started doing was I started using the mic, and I just had that attached. But the problem with the mic was it's not stereo, it's mono sound. And then I found that this is actually terrible in the wind as well. So then I created some crazy box around it, put it on my bag, and that's what I used to do. But then that sounded quite echoey, and I was like, well, what the hell can I do with this? And I was also a bit annoyed that, you know, if I want to go high, I've got to do this all the time. So in the end, I came up with the handle, a bigger handle like this, a little tripod thing, and I had a bracket, a metal bracket, as you can see here, but it was wider. You're going to hear some muffling now because the sound's coming off of this, but I'm just moving this around. And that was it. So it kind of looked like this, but I'll show you where we're at now. So if I want to do something like, I don't want to carry too much around with me, which actually I prefer to carry this. I prefer to have quality over the easiness of this. But I've got two battery packs, and you can see here how easy this is going to be for me to change from one example to another, to like a small setup to a bigger setup that's ready to roll in any situation. So what we're going to do is we'll take this, detach the Osmo Pocket 3 as such, and we're going to attach it to this absolute crazy customized thing that Dave has made up here. So what's good about this? It's brilliant, this thing. So let's start. So we've got the Osmo Pocket 3, and then we've got the battery here, and this handle here is also a battery. And I've written it down, I've written the specs down because I'm one of those blokes. So the Pocket 3 itself, this little device, has 1300 mAh. The Pocket handle, so this bit here, that has 950. But this handle here is called a Telesin TE-CSS001. That has 10,000 mAh. So we've got 12,250 mAh. Roughly 12 hours record time at 60 frames per second, 4K. So I could, if I had the memory to do it, I think I can record for 9 hours and 13 minutes. That's more than enough. So it's just going to go on and on. Now the great thing about this handle is that it's a little extender as well, little selfie stick, which is brilliant. This is so handy. Now I only put it up to this amount. It does go a little bit more. The only reason I can't go any further is because of the wires I've got here, and I'll go into the sound system in a bit. but this is a great length for me, because what I find is, if I'm just holding it at hip height, my hands at hip height, which is really comfortable. I don't find that comfortable at all. I hate that. My arm just doesn't like it. And then, you know, if I'm in a crowded area, I can do that as a temporary solution. And then when I want to just go back down to sort of eye level, I can. And what I find is, if I'm in a compact space, without touching the mics here, again, I'll go into the mics in a bit, I can just simply just slide that down, and that's it, off we go. So this handle is brilliant. I love this handle. I'll put links to things if I can find them, but I love this handle so much. It is the best bit of thing you can have with your Osmo Pocket 3. And the great thing is, did I do that? Yeah, if you didn't have this bracket here, you can just attach it straight to the bottom. So all the Osmo Pockets on the battery handle, that is, they have this three quarters thread? I can't remember now. So they all have this at the bottom. But the good thing is as well, is this handle, let me just drop this down again. You're probably going to hear some noises because I am probably touching the mics. But the good thing about this handle as well is you've got a thread at the bottom. So I can, if I wanted to, I could put this at the bottom. It's going to extend the size of it a little bit, but not too much, you know. I find it quite useful when you're setting up and you just put it down on the ground, and then you just sort yourself out, and then you're like, right, I'm ready to go, or just collapse that. So yeah. Next thing is, after this handle, is the mic setup. Now this is some crazy stuff right here, what I've done. I'm just going to make sure this is still recording, because we're in like 30 degrees heat. And Nikon are terrible. It is still recording, that's brilliant. And that's another thing about this, is it doesn't overheat. The most I've done in England, about 20 degrees, 3 hours and 20 minutes, 4K 60, continuously. Doesn't overheat. The most I've done here was probably in the heat, probably about an hour and a half, I think. Maybe, yeah, about an hour and a half for that 30 degrees heat. Still didn't overheat. Anyway, let's go on to the mic setup, because that is the dogs. Yeah. Anyway, so what I've got set up here, first of all, and this, I'll go into what I started. So this little device here is called a Zoom, can't remember what it's called now, Zoom H1N. Handy recorder. It is cheap, it's very lightweight, and the mics on it, which I did initially use, I can't remember what they're called, it's like a Y split or something, I don't know. They're great if you do not touch this thing. Any vibration on this, it's horrendous. Don't use the mics on these. But as a receiver, and for how compact and light it is, it's really good. So that's what I use. Now, the downside to the Zoom is this little knob here. You see that there? I've got tape on it. So that's your gain level. Now, your gain level goes from, I can't see because I've got tape on it, but it's like something like 1 to 10 or whatever. But basically, if it's quiet, I will I will put the gain up, and if it's loud, I put the gain down. So if it's really loud, I put it on about 6, and at the moment we're on 7.5. We've got, there's wind, this is a good test, there's wind, and you can hear, you should be able to hear a lot of the generators for the aircon around here, which isn't the ideal recording situation, scenario, but with this setup you should still be able to hear me very clearly. So yes, that's what I use. This is really cheap. Hard to get hold of though, because I'm not sure if they still make them. They have a newer version, but the problem with the newer version is it has something called, what's it called, floating gain level or something. So if something's really quiet, it'll automatically bring up the level and so forth. But I prefer to have real sound. If something's quiet, it's quiet, and if it's loud, it's loud. So that's why I prefer this. It's very realistic sound quality. Let me put that back in my pocket. So I don't listen, I don't monitor the sound. You can see I've just got that black wire there, that little black bit, that is to listen to the sound. So if I wanted to, I can attach that to something else, and oh no, so I attach that to the side here, I think. I can't remember now, let me think. I can't remember what that bit's for. I'm having a bit of a moment, excuse me. What is that bit for? Oh yes, that is, yeah, so if you wanted to, you could put this in there. It's even got a little speaker in the back. Yeah, and on the phone it's got a little speaker. It's awful though. Anyway, let me put that back in my pocket. So this wire here, these are actually earphones, but they're what they call binaural earphones. So in the earphones they've got little mics on the outside. So when you're walking along, if you had no wind at all and you just wanted to walk around like this, because that's what you would have to do if you were wearing them properly as they're meant to be used. And I don't do that. When I do walking tours and stuff, I look where I'm going to frame and then I'll turn into it. Or well, normally, yeah, so I look, you know what I mean? So the sound is not going to be the same as what it is in the frame. But you see I've got a left and a right with the camera. So it's always going to move. You can hear me in your left ear now if you're wearing earbuds, earphones or headphones, and you'll be able to hear me on your right side now more than your left. But that's the good thing about these. But how I've set these up, I'll show you. Let me just do that quickly. So we'll start from the bottom, shall we? This is so crazy. I'll tell you what, it took me months to like finally come up with this exact design. Let me just see if we're still recording because I don't want to waste my time. Cool. And I hate editing, that's why it's all going to be uncut. Anyway, so the wire goes through. We've got two straps here. They're just little, I'll just attach that. They're just these little straps. They're really cool. They just keep things in place. Bit of Velcro. Yeah. And then we've got both the wires coming up here, and hopefully you can see this. It's really quite compact. You're going to be hearing muffling because I'm touching the mics now. But you can see the tape, it goes round here. I've got a metal bracket. So it's just a metal bracket with the 3/4, whatever it is, thread hole there. And I can't remember what's at the end, but it doesn't matter because we don't even use that anyway. But these muff, or what do the Americans call them? Dead cats, I think it is, or something. I don't know. It's wind muffs. I call them wind muffs. But these wind muffs are actually road wind muffs. I'll find a link for those as well. So there's a mono. God, the ants are killing me here. There's a mono mic. There's quite a few of them that use these, and I actually found these are a very good size for the earphones. Now I don't want to take this apart, but what I'm going to do is explain exactly what I've done. So I got a sponge, just like a sponge you'd wash yourself with, and then I cut it in half, and then those halves I cut little slips off the halves. So essentially I've got like, say I've got two 30%, yeah, whatever. I've got two big chunks and I've got two little chunks, basically. So what I do was I put the big chunks of sponge within this here, so it's at the end. So I'm even more windproofed through this, so you should be able to hear that. But so I put them in there, and then what I did was I slid the earphones in to make sure that they're both facing left and right, like our ears would be, because what you'll find is you do hear in front of you a little bit more than you do behind you, just because of the way our ears are sort of made up. So I've made sure that that is the case here, and to make sure that I was the right way up, you see I'm so like crazy about this, it's mental. But you see the road labels there, they're at the bottom, so I know when I put it in that oh, these ants, that the bottom of the mic, the wire, is downwards and it is facing the right direction. So once they're in and they're wedged in well, and once they're wedged in they're not going to move, I put the remaining sponge, no, that's it, sorry, the little bit of sponge goes in first, and then the big chunk of sponge goes in afterwards to hold it in place. And then after that I just wedge this into the bracket, and I have got some tape on there, but it's not doing very much around the bracket. It's just kind of holding some of this fluff, but once it's on there on the metal bracket, it's not going anywhere. So that's the setup, and you can see with the what's it called, the battery handle, we've got this here. My legs are getting chewed at the moment. We've got this wire here, so that will charge the battery handle. Oh my god, my ankles are getting chewed away. We've got the battery handle being charged by this, and the battery handle is charging the Osmo Pocket 3. And just to get into what I use quickly, it's quite simple. 4K 60. I don't know how much you're going to see. Let's have a look. Okay, about that distance. How close can I get? About there. Can you see? That's the question. Right, so we've got 4K 60, and on the settings we have follow. I did start off putting on tilt lock. Tilt lock, basically, you know, you can go up and down, left and right, and it always keeps the same frame. Follow, you can go up and down. It will look down, it will look up, and it will look down. But when you sway left and right, you'll keep the horizon balance. I find follow to be the best for walking tours and for everything really. I don't like wonky videos, so follow is great. And then I have it on fast rotational speed. There is a reason why I have it on fast. I used to have it on default. Now what I found on default is if you spin around too quickly and you just keep doing this, oh god, I'm getting eaten again. You keep doing that, eventually, and you might be able to see, is it out of alignment? Let's have a look. 1, 2. Oh, 1, 2. No, it's not out of alignment, but what happens is eventually it does, it's not in the line, it's not centered anymore. But if you keep it, oh whoopsie daisy, if you keep it on action or fast, it will stay where you want it. But you need to make sure that you're smooth with it. You can't, even whatever setting you've got, you can't start doing all this, because the Osmo Pocket 3 does not like that. And eventually you'll notice that when I go back to center, it's probably not going to do it, but let's have a look. Oh, yeah, see, it's not quite, it's done well. Let's have a look. 1, 2. Oh no, that is centered. I told you, I knew it. But that's why I use the fast. So let's use slow, and I'll show you the example there. So let's do the same thing. Rotate it around, make it go crazy. There's no way that it's actually working now. Did they update this? Oh wait. Nah, there we go. Yeah, so you can see it doesn't go back to the center, and that becomes very annoying. And that's why I hated this device. That's why I hated this device at first. But now I just put it on fast, and that works really well for me. Let's see what other settings we can go into that are relevant. So, as I said, that's all you need. You need it on follow, and you need it on fast. I have the selfie mode on if I'm doing any vloggy stuff. As you know, I don't really do too much of that, but since I've done that, a lot of people ask me questions of what camera I'm using. Oh, is that about it? I think that's about it really. I do occasionally put it on manual exposure, but so what you can do, can you see that still? Yep. So you can put it on, because you're on 60 frames, you can put it on 1/120 and that'd be great. But it's not always an ideal situation, because we're on we haven't got a variable aperture, we only got f2. So you could be overexposed if you leave it on 1/120 in the sun, because you're only going down to, what is it, ISO 50. So I don't know if anyone actually understands any of that. I mean, I'm a wedding photographer by trade, so I obviously understand all that stuff, but I don't want to get into it too heavily for you. You just want an easy device, don't you? So that's about it. That is what I do. That's what I use. And let's just record on here. There we go, I'm recording on here now, so let's just switch to this, and you can see what it looks like. And that's it. What I do find as well is, you see I'm at a comfortable angle. So I don't have it completely straight, and with this device, if you double click it, it will centralize itself again. So 1, 2, and it's centralized. But I find that really hard on the wrist. So let's just go at an angle a little bit like that, and then click 1, 2. And I don't always like it completely straight. I like it looking down slightly. So we'll just use the analog stick and make it go down. That's another thing with the analog stick. Just put the speed on 1. Put the rotation left, whatever it is, just put it on 1, the slowest speed, because what you'll find is it ruins the smoothness of your video if you just decide that, oh, I don't really like how that's looking, I just want to default that and just press down, and it just goes boom like that. Right, it's so annoying. So yeah, put it on the slowest setting. So when you want to adjust on the move, you can use the analog stick to do that. I wouldn't bother zooming on this because it's a digital zoom. If you really want to zoom, just do it post-production. And that's another thing I should mention quickly, is that obviously this is external sound being recorded on that H1N. So what I do, I think I might show you on the video, is I'll click. And the reason I'm doing that is this is recording sound as well as sort of a backup and something to sort of sync with. because that's going to be automatically synced, but this isn't, so I will be syncing that post-production. You don't really need to click. I do it just in case. I find if you just go through your video, you'll find something really loud that you could just sync it up with, which is great. Going on to this again, another thing to mention is every video clip of the Osmo Pocket 3 is, I think, about 20 minutes, something like that. And what I found is, after the first clip, so between clips, this is quite annoying, your sound will lose sync. It's like the first, it's like 0.07 seconds. It sounds silly, but it does make a difference, and it adds up the longer your video is. So for every 20-minute clip on your Osmo Pocket 3, it loses 0.07 seconds. Sometimes it's a little bit off, sometimes it's 0.05 seconds, but I know that the first clip, for some reason, the first clip is always yeah, you know, I said already. So the way I sort that out is, in post-production, I will just cut a line through the sound and the end of the video so it syncs with that. I'll just push it all right, and then I'll just shift the sound left 0.07 seconds and then cut a little bit of it. So you're losing something slightly here. Now, it's not too bad. I found, what I hate about the Insta360, I don't know if what's the new one called, the 4? I used to have the 3. But that was really irritating for that. It would lose like 5 seconds. So if you're doing a walking tour with a 360 camera and like every 20 minutes you lose 5 seconds, it's the most annoying thing ever. But thankfully the Osmo Pocket 3 is not noticeable, but it will be noticeable with the sound if you don't keep on top of it. I didn't notice it like on the first few videos, and then something clicked and I was like, oh, that's not right. So I think that is it. What I found as well, you have to look at my Chinese New Year video, that's great. But what I find, so I'm at this setting, another good thing about this angle is it's so cool. I look so professional doing it. I feel like really chuffed. And it looks cool. If you've got a big crowd and you're going the same way, so you're facing this direction, you're walking along, like da-da-da-da-da, and then you just go ba-ba-ba, slowly spin it round, and then just keep walking. And you'll see everyone behind you, just slightly above their head, and it's a really good effect. I'll put that in this clip. I'll try and find it. But you'll see what I mean. But anyway, that's my setup. Hope you enjoyed the video. I know I talk a lot. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. I like to do uncut videos because as a wedding photographer, all I do is edit, and so I very rarely take photos as a hobby now because it's a business, and I try not to edit very much because also 80% of my time is editing as a wedding photographer. But we're going to enjoy our day. And let's have a look. Oh yeah, I want to show you some puppies. Wait. Here we go. So this is what I'm recording on. Here we go over here. There's some monkeys around here as well. It's really nice. I've got some dogs. Yeah, I've got some puppies. I don't want to get too close to them. But you see, again, this is a good thing about... Okay, am I still in the frame? Hello. So... You'll see, this is also a good thing. If you want to look at things, you're like, oh, I'm going to look down here. Let's just do that. So you've got so much reach. Oh, you can't see me. So you've got so much reach with this. And then you could just come back in. Just tuck your elbow in. I have sussed out walking tours. And for vlogging, when I was doing a little vloggy 20 differences from the Philippines to England, I was using this same setup. I did have this mic, so I was recording on that, I was recording on this, and I was recording on that. I was recording on three different ways, and the earphones with the H1N was the best sound quality, and it was noisy. It was very, very noisy, and you could still hear exactly what I was saying. Yeah, my accent and all the rest of it. If you're from the Philippines, you might struggle there, but it wasn't anything to do with the sound quality. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. I am being eaten alive, so I really need to move from here. But thank you for watching, and see you later, everyone. I'm going to do some more videos now and do some more walking tours.